What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving into the SMG category and covering the Rival 9. And starting it off as always, let's get into our damage profile, and with this gun, we actually have 5 different damage ranges, which is a little out of the ordinary, but generally speaking, it's going to be a 5 to 7 shot kill, although it is worth noting, in that maximum damage range, in order to get that 5 shot kill, 3 of those shots have to hit them in the torso or arms. So you really can't afford to be mixing in leg shots with this gun up close. As for headshots, generally speaking, they're not going to be doing much for you. However, in the second damage range, this is where headshots are actually going to be good, because mixing just one headshot in with those torso shots will cut this down to a 5 shot kill rather than a 6 shot kill. Outside of that specific range window though, headshots are pretty much useless. After that, let's get into our rate of fire, which is quite fast at 909 rounds per minute. And what that means for our time to kill potential is with a 5 shot kill, we're killing in 264 milliseconds, which is an excellent time to kill in this game. And that jumps up to 396 milliseconds in the 7 shot kill at long ranges, which is honestly pretty impressive. That is not a bad time to kill for long ranges at all. That's actually going to compete with most of the assault rifles in the game just fine at range. And speaking of ranges, let's have a look here. As we can see, unfortunately, our 5 shot kill potential to the body is only 10.2 meters. So you definitely want to keep yourself right up close and personal if you want to get that best possible time to kill potential. Also, just remember, in that second damage range, which extends out to about 22 meters, you still can get a 5 shot kill as long as you're mixing a headshot in, whereas anything beyond that's going to be a 6 to 7 shot kill. As for hardcore game modes, we only get a 1 shot kill potential to the body in that maximum damage range, so 10.2 meters. And it is worth noting in this range, if you shoot them in the legs, it will take you 2 shots to kill. And anything beyond that will be a 2 shot kill anywhere in the body. However, our 1 shot headshot potential will extend out to about 34 meters. Next, let's get into Hipfire, and the Rival 9's pretty much average for SMGs, which is a good thing because our Hipfire spread is excellent on SMGs in this game. Then let's have a look at our recoil, and this gun does have a fair amount of recoil. It's also got a little bit of a zigzag to it. It does kick pretty hard to the left after about 8 to 10 shots, and that can definitely throw you off target. Additionally, you may notice there are some fairly big gaps between some of these shots that you're firing, so it can jump on you pretty hard unpredictably. And as a result, when making my class setups, I typically like to focus quite a bit in the recoil department. Now, let's move into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is excellent at 190 milliseconds. This is great even for an SMG. And it's a similar story with our sprint to fire time. We have an amazing sprint out time at just 93 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time and about 180 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. And then finally for handling, our reload add time is very solid at 1.33 seconds. This is tied with the AMR-9 as being the fastest in the SMG category. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, let's get into our mobility stats, and straight up across the board, this gun is just slightly better than average for SMGs, and that's great news because SMGs in this game have great mobility by default, and this is just a little bit better than average. So there we go, that's going to wrap it up for the base stats of the Rival 9. Now let's get into some excellent attachment combinations, and the first one I'm going to share for you guys is actually a build designed for competitive play. Now I'm not going to be sharing competitive builds for every gun in the game, but I did want to check things out and see what the pros happen to be using because I know that they're using this gun. And this is one of the setups that I found that pros were using, and I spent a good amount of time trying to improve on this, trying to swap out various attachments to see if I could make it even better, and I straight up couldn't, not for competitive play at least. This is an amazing build. With this, we're using the Rival C clear shot barrel, the Purifier muzzle brake, the DR6 hand stop, the Rival Vice assault rear grip, and then finally, the MTZ Marauder stock. And you might be wondering, if you're trying to get the best recoil possible here, why would you use the MTZ Marauder stock instead of the EXF Close Quarters Assault stock? Because that one, when you look at the advanced stats, gives you far more recoil benefits. Well, it turns out there's actually a somewhat hidden stat here that's not displayed in the advanced stats that helps significantly with the recoil on this gun, and this is firing aim stability. This actually makes the Marauder stock significantly more accurate than the EXF Close Quarters stock, even though if you look at the advanced stats, it would suggest otherwise. And with this particular build, we get all of that side-to-side bounce and basically all of those unpredictable jumps completely eliminated. It still zigzags a little bit, but it's much easier to compensate for. Our aim down sight speed is also improved, which you don't typically see. You don't typically see a more accurate gun that's also going to aim down sight faster for you. This new aim down sight time is 170 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is just very slightly slower, but we're talking like a couple milliseconds. You will never notice this difference. And then finally, our bullet velocity is also slightly improved because of that barrel. It's now 476 meters per second. So this right here is an incredible build, especially for competitive play if you're playing 4v4. However, for many people, if we're playing public matches, we want to get a larger magazine in there just because we're going to be dealing with more enemies consecutively potentially. And we don't want to have to reload as often, and we may be streaking up a little bit more. So I just wanted to make a pub version of this same build because it is such a good build by default. I wouldn't really want to change a whole lot with it. So with this next build, it's the exact same build as the previous one, but I dropped that underbarrel and instead I'm using the 40 round magazine. Now with this, we still get a very accurate gun. In fact, it's just as accurate as the previous build. However, of course, we have a 40 round magazine, and this means our aim down sight speed is a little bit slower at 203 milliseconds. This is still a very fast aim down sight speed, even for an SMG, so it's not like this is a problem. Additionally, our sprint out speed is a little bit slower, but again, this is still a very fast sprint out time for an SMG even. So I'm not worried about that at all, and we once again still get that bullet velocity boost at 476 meters per second. And that just leaves us with an excellent build for public matches, a little bit more versatile, especially if you plan on running into the enemy spawn and dealing with a bunch of enemies consecutively. And then finally for our Rival 9 builds, of course I do want to share a stealth build since many people like staying off the radar, myself included oftentimes. And with this particular one, I played around with the integrated suppressed barrel a little bit, but I just found I was able to create a better overall build while using the Shadow Strike suppressor, which is the one with no downsides. We once again have that DR6 hand stop. We're also again using the 40 round mag and that Rival Vice stock combined with that MTZ Marauder stock. That particular stock is honestly so key with the Rival 9. And with this particular one, it's not going to be nearly as accurate as the previous builds that I've shared for you guys, but it's still going to be a bit more accurate than the base. This isn't really designed to be quite as versatile as far as challenging people at longer ranges. It's more so for closing that distance and flanking the enemy players and getting yourself right up close and personal. And for our aim down sight speed, this is very fast at 184 milliseconds. Our sprint out time's also improved a little bit, although you probably won't notice it. In either case, it's a very fast sprint out time. Our aim walking speed's also slightly improved so you can strafe a bit in a gunfight. And then of course, with that suppressor, we're staying off the radar, which is a huge benefit of course. And with that, that's gonna wrap it up for today's gun guide on the Rival 9. As for my thoughts on this gun, I would say it is my favorite all-around choice in the SMG category. I really do enjoy this gun. I think it is actually very versatile for an SMG in this game especially, and I've managed to find a ton of success with it so far. Now, of course, those are just my opinions on the Rival 9, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. And also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I've now covered all of the assault rifles and the BAS-B. I know I kind of skipped over the other battle rifles for now. That's because I think those are going to need some pretty significant buffs, especially the Sidewinder, so I thought I would just skip into the SMG category until we see some adjustments to those. In either case, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.